defensively. One of the things I love about her is the fact that she'll attack, not settle for the three. She creates not only for herself, but for her teammates. And when you look at her progression season to season, that is exactly what Karen Aston needed out of her junior guard.
Well, for Texas Tech, a changing of the guard. Out is head coach Candy Whitaker 3 weeks ago. Shimmy Gray Miller in, and it has had amazing results. This team picking up their first Big 12 win against Kansas on Wednesday.
Well, and wins are all about confidence builders, and to be able to go into someone else's house, that is a huge factor. Everyone in the Big 12 Conference knows that this Texas Tech team plays with great energy and passion. But today, they're going to have to play smart against this Longhorn pressure defense.
It is for bragging rights in the state of Texas, the 99th meeting in program history. We'll have starting lineups and tip when we come back to Lubbock, Texas.
The following is a presentation of Fox Sports. The following is a presentation of Fox Sports.
And we welcome you to Lubbock, Texas, on the campus of Texas Tech University for women's Big 12 basketball. Today, the 9th-ranked Texas Longhorns visit the Texas Tech Lady Raiders. Let's take a look at the Big 12 standings. Texas sits at number 2. Texas Tech just 2 wins back from being in the middle of the pack. Happy to have you with us, everyone. Tracy Warren along with Missy Heinrich. And Missy, of course, Texas coming off that 4-point loss to top-ranked Connecticut on Monday. They are a team on the rise behind junior guard LaShawn Higgs.
And this is a young lady who is leading the way in so many ways for this Texas team. She can fill up a stat sheet, averaging almost 21 points a game in league play, 6 of the last 8 games, almost 15 plus. But she does it on both ends. She sees herself as a defensive stopper, and that's made her more relaxed offensively. One of the things I love about her is the fact that she'll attack, not settle for the 3. She creates not only for herself, but for her teammates. And when you look at her progression season to season, that is exactly what Karen Aston needed out of her junior guard.
Well, for Texas Tech, a changing of the guard. Out is head coach Candy Whitaker 3 weeks ago. Shimmy Gray Miller in, and it has had amazing results. This team picking up their first Big 12 win against Kansas on Wednesday.
Well, and wins are all about confidence builders, and to be able to go into someone else's house, that is a huge factor. Everyone in the Big 12 Conference knows that this Texas Tech team plays with great energy and passion. But today, they're going to have to play smart against this Longhorn pressure defense.
It is for bragging rights in the state of Texas, the 99th meeting in program history. We'll have starting lineups and tip when we come back to Lubbock, Texas. Welcome back to Lubbock, Texas. Our starting lineups for the game between Texas and Texas Tech. Ariel Atkins, LaShawn Higgs, Brooke McCarty, Jatari White, and Adrian Goudreau. For the Lady Raiders, Lindsay Wilby, Grayson Bright, Jada Terry, Brielle Blair, and Zuri Sanders. Our key to the game, Missy Heinrich, for this matchup, this Big 12 battle.
Well, you look at Texas as this is a team where they know that the size and strength of Texas Tech in the post is a concern. Their ability to string together stops is going to equal transition offense. That's where they'll get their tempo. And for Texas Tech, they've got to find energy on D, and we see it here this first possession. They're going to come out in a zone, but you've got to be active. You cannot stand. They got to take up space, force these posts to make some decisions inside.
Texas working the perimeter. They try to go inside. It's knocked out of bounds. You can just feel the energy coming off of that tip, Missy.
And they need to have that right out of the gate. They saw it in their win on the road at Kansas. They came out early and jumped on KU, scored the first 8 points. They've got to be strong inside on both ends.
Karan Goudreau just off the rim, and there's the rebound for Texas Tech. Working the boards, important, says Shimmy Gray Miller.
And they've also got to have patience on offense, Tracy, and that's going to be critical here. They've got to find open shots inside and out. They've got Grayson Bright, who's now having to run the point without Rasay Caldwell in the lineup with her injury.
Second look for Jada Terry. She'll work on the low blast and score first for the Lady Raiders.
And there's that size right out of the gate that you see Texas knowing that that's a concern. They've got to try to get the ball out of those post players' hands.
Really trying to spread the floor are the Longhorns, and they off the mark again. rebound stays with the Longhorns. There is McCarty. Thought about it, penetrates inside. Oh, good dish. And a foul will go against White.
And that's where Brooke McCarty is such a weapon for Texas, because everybody knows she's got that three-point range. It's been a struggle for her behind the three-point line the last few games, but because of her ability to shoot the three, you've got to come out and contest. She can put it on the floor and create.
Karen Aston in her 6th season, last year's Big 12 Coach of the Year. As Jatari White gets the opportunities at the line, she is a 64% free throw shooter as she was fouled in the paint.
This young lady had 18 points and 6 boards versus UConn on Monday night. She was 8 of 12 from the field. She scores at a very high, efficient rate, and that's what they like to have. She's a pure post player, something Karen Aston really likes to have in her program.
Sanders picked up her first foul for Texas Tech. Terry getting a lot of touches here for Texas Tech. Perimeter shot off, and here comes the Longhorns. Higgs has 2-on-2. She'll kick it out to McCarty. He's going to reset the offense.
And there's those stops on the defensive end that allow you to get out in transition. But Texas Tech being active in that zone, be big, be wide, active hands, you get the turnover.
Brielle Blair with the screen at the top of the key, but offensive foul is going to be called against Texas Tech.
And that's a bit of that motion offense kind of up top that they'll run with these high ball screens with their posts, Tracy. And what you're going to see from Shimmy Gray Miller right there, the interim head coach, is she wants a lot of movement from these post players. She wants them to be able to set screens and then dive, get good position. Either way, they've got to be smart. Jada Terry's got to stay out of foul trouble.
Double team on the low block. They try and box just White in, but there is a reach in.
And that's going to be the second foul now on Jada Terry, and you're going to see it. There's a body that kind of go for a quick trap down there on that low post play, that kind of that short corner.
Oh, good putback by Karan Goudreau on the low block.
One of the things that they love about Adrienne Karan Goudreau is her ability to rebound. Her role, rebound, block out, play defense. And she can do that on the offensive end and get them some second looks.
Grayson Bright.
This zone now spreading this Texas team out a little bit, but that's where they're going to be able to attack, is that high post short corner option. They've got to get the ball inside out, and then you've got to find shooters. Brooke McCarty not able to get that one to go. She's going to get shots against this zone on the skip. She's going to have to knock them down.
The battle of the boards. Both of these coaches said that it was going to be important to work the boards, get the rebounds, second chance opportunities. I think both teams kind of, at least Texas, holding their own on the low blocks early on.
Absolutely. Again, that size and strength of Tech is where they have concern. For the Lady Raiders, they dominated KU on the glass. It's a point of emphasis now for this team. They've got to get extra touches, and they've all got to sell out and buy in. You've got to go to the glass.
DeGrate is in for Jada Terry, and we've got a reach-in foul against the Longhorns. Now, this is a Texas Tech team that is high in energy coming off that 68-56 win over Kansas.
Well, Erin DeGrate, a big part of that, Tracy. She had 12 points in 10 minutes, 6 of 8 from the field. She had a double-double in the first game when they played KU here in Lubbock. But what she does is another big body that comes into the ball game for Texas Tech to add that strength and size down low. The concern for Texas, how do you continue to battle? You've got to eliminate that easy pass into the post. And DeGrate got a great feed. She's able to make 1 out of 2 at the line.
The transfer from Louisville sat out last year, manages to give the Lady Raiders the lead over 9th-ranked Texas. Karan Goudreau, boy, they love that 8-footer on the low blocks.
And that short corner is a great place to attack the 2-3 zone, and Karan Goudreau is the type of player that can step out and hit that with confidence. They want to put her in a spot where she takes high percentage shots. That is one for her, no doubt.
They're trying to get DeGrate free. They are just bumping her in the paint so she can't find some room. Blair crossover dribble, has it knocked out of her hand, and here come the Longhorns.
Pressure defense by Texas, and they are out in transition. One of the places where Brooke McCarty is at her best.
Well, they'll reset it. McCarty goes to the corner. That is Higgs. She has got all the room in the world, but rebound Lady Raiders.
And right now, Texas settling for that three-point shot, and they haven't been able to knock it down. They're getting it through good ball movement, and they're open shots. They just haven't been able to get them to go.
Try to thread the needle, get it into DeGrate, but can't do it. McCarty wants to run. She's got Hosey, and Hosey can't convert.
Easy buckets right now for Texas, not going down, but it is all about pace of play, and this is where Texas wants it. They want to get out in transition and create.
Again, short corner and knocking it down. That seems to be the place to go. That was Atkins.
And Ariel Atkins, that true leader out front. Vocal leader, really kind of that floor general for the Texas Tech Longhorns. And she herself, one of those players, averaging almost 15 points a game in Big 12. She's their top rebounder. She can get it going for them.
DeGrate is, they'll call her for traveling. Well, they wanted high energy in the state of Texas, and they got it from both of these teams. It seems to be a frenetic pace here early on. Texas shooting just 27% from the field, while the Lady Raiders at 50%.
Yeah, and the struggle now for Texas is they've got to be able to attack the zone in the half court. Half-court offense against the zone can be tough, but that's where it has to go. High post and look for the skip and be able to find your shooter to relocate. Brooke McCarty knocks it down.
McCarty does just that. Outstanding three-point field goal shooter at 32%, and she gives the Longhorns the 11-5 lead. We've got a break in the action. The Longhorns have found their rhythm. They lead by 6. Welcome back to the United Supermarkets Arena on the campus of Texas Tech, where Texas leading 11-5. Well, the Philadelphia Eagles have dominated all season long. Now they'll face their biggest test as they host the Minnesota Vikings in the NFC Championship game. It all happens tomorrow at 6 Eastern on Fox, or stream it live on Fox Sports Go. Should be a great one. Full court pressure by the Texas Longhorns and a quick timeout by the Lady Raiders.
And this was something that Texas Tech worked on in their shoot-around this morning, Tracy, was to be able to handle that pressure. And normally, off a make, you're in a little bit of different scenario. You've got flow, but when you can allow a team to get set as Texas did, then you've got that pressure. You're going to have to use a screen. Those guards are going to have to get open. And the biggest factor is then you've got to be able to inbound that basketball and get into some kind of flow.
Lots happening around the conference. The John Wooden Award top 25 list. Kalani Brown from Baylor, Ariel Atkins, or Brooke McCarty. We see him on the floor today. And the Big 12 teams lead the nation in scoring, a lot due to Baylor, Oklahoma State, and of course these Texas Longhorns. The plus 34 scoring margin in conference play this season, the most all-time in Big 12 in the first 6 games. So these are a high-octane conference play. And we expect to see some here. More full-court pressure by the Longhorns. And they're trying to break it out of the Lady Raiders. That's Wright trying to go inside, find some room. DeGreat can't get it to go, knocked out of bounds, going to stay with the Lady Raiders.
And 2 young guards into the ball game now for Texas Tech when you look at Grayson Bright out front, but then you also have Angel Hayden. She's got a mask on, broke her nose on Wednesday night when they were in Lawrence at KU in the win. We'll see how she handles that and changes it for her.
Well, they want that 5-footer. They keep trying to get into Erin DeGreat. They got it that time. 4-point lead for the Longhorns.
But you see how quick they are up the floor, even out of their secondary break on the inbounds pass. They are up quick, 1 or 2 passes. Texas Tech has to get back on defense.
Dial Olabode with the basketball. She brings a lot of athleticism with her 6'2" frame.
And right there we get the 3-second call on DeGreat, and part of that because Tech completely out of sorts on that possession. They didn't get into a good flow. You've got to set some screens and you've got to get some action. You can't stand against this Texas pressure man-to-man. When you do, you're very easy to guard.
Jada Underwood checks in, the sophomore guard out of Mesquite, Texas for Texas. There is Underwood. Underwood. And Texas will keep it. McCarty. And it looks like a jump ball situation, possession arrow, Lady Raiders.
But a dominant possession right there by Texas, able to get 3 offensive boards. You're going to see Posey go up. And Grayson Bright just keeps her hands right on it. Jump ball, possession, Lady Raiders, but they have got to block out and get some rebounds on the defensive end. Too many second chances for the Longhorns.
Bright's got the one-on-one.
And that's where the pressure defense for Texas really comes into play in the half court, is they're going to put pressure on these Texas Tech ball handlers. You've got to be able to use a ball fake. Coaches talked to them about that this morning. You got a ball fake, put it on the floor. You got to really force these post players out of position and give them a good entry pass.
Well, Jada Terry back into the game. Bright just rims out. How about that, Jada Terry?
She couldn't stay on the bench very long. Shimmy Gray Miller knowing they need to have her in the lineup. She's got 2 fouls. She's going to have to play smart defensively.
A transfer from Texas A&M, making an impact early. Karan Goudreau. Underwood.
And another missed block out by Texas Tech, and they dodge a bullet there because Texas has been going to the glass to look for second chances.
Going right back into Terry. And a reaching foul against Terry, her 3rd personal foul.
And you go back to the last made on the other end, you're going to see the offensive rebounding. A great inbounds pass. Bright just couldn't get it to go, but on the weak side, Jada Terry battling, but now she's got to go. She's going to stay in the ball game here, and they're going to keep her in there. Erin DeGreat's going to come out. And it looks as though Jada Terry's just going to have to play smart on both ends.
I'm not sure they gave that foul to Terry. She's still showing as 2 right now. There it is, she's at 3. While Texas gets going with Atkins.
And with Ariel Atkins, she adds so much to their offensive ability to be able to move it, put it on the floor, but also knock down that jumper. She is difficult to guard.
Well, you look at the number of shots that Texas has made so far. 5 of 18 versus 4 of 8 for the Lady Raiders.
A lot of that possession coming on offensive rebounding because they're getting second chances. They haven't been able to get them to go. Also against a zone, you're going to shoot a lot of threes, long rebounds, those 50-50 possessions. The Longhorns have been getting them so far, that's giving them extra looks at the bucket.
Oh, good passing underneath, and they find White.
And there's Joyner Holmes coming into the lineup, Tracy, and she is one of those X factors, I think, for Texas as this season goes on in the Big 12 Conference. The sophomore coming off Freshman of the Year accolades, and you're going to see she's just got a good feel offensively. One of the things that Coach Aston talked about with Joyner Holmes, she just hasn't gotten totally comfortable yet in a lot of their offensive sets, but she has got a great basketball IQ. And when she knows she sees that double team, someone comes at her, she's going to find an open player, and she's going to continue to get better and better for this Texas team.
Joyner Holmes sat out the fall semester due to violation of university rules, but she is back in. And there is Joyner Holmes.
And penetration again against the zone. Brooke McCarty leading this team in assists. She leads the Big 12 in assist to turnover ratio. So when you put the ball in their hands, good things are going to happen. They're getting easy buckets against the zone.
17-9. Lady Raiders need a bucket. Blair gives them that.
And the isolation look right now for Tech is where they've had success, whether it's one-on-one in the post or off the dribble drive penetration.
Working the boards is Texas. Atkins.
That one came from White. She was so big on the weak side there, Tracy, and when you're able to find open players, then dish it off. Great look from White, and Texas dominating right now on the offensive glass.
The recognition. You could just see the chemistry with this team in the first quarter. They can feel just their teammates. And there is a putback by Erin DeGreat. Big 6'6" sophomore out of Waco, Texas.
And that's how this Lady Raider team's going to stay in the ball game, is they got good movement for Brewer, who's come in now with Jada Terry on the bench in foul trouble. And you've got the weak side board from DeGreat. Brewer can't get the bucket to go off the movement and the isolation, but you've got weak side boards. Everybody sells out. They're sending 3 to the offensive glass, 2 to get back against the Texas transition. But now you've got DeGreat with a chance at the three-point play.
Transfer from Louisville. Everybody forgets that this is a team that lost their head coach less than 3 weeks ago, has a lot of transfers. People didn't play much last year, and now they're trying to put it together against the 9th-ranked team in the nation. Offensive foul against Texas Tech.
Yeah, you're going to see the charge. Willoughby is going to go strong. And there's Posey. Her feet are outside that restricted arc. Could have been a little movement, it could have been a little shuffle, but it is a charge that goes the other way, and a great defensive possession by Jordan Hosey.
Atkins goes baseline, pass, oh! They keep it alive, and the Lady Raiders have a chance for a final shot.
Big hustle play right there by the freshman guard to keep that possession in.
Blair trying to get it inside. Too late with the shot is Brittany Brewer, and that'll do it for the first quarter. Well, you want high energy? Boom, we got it. The Longhorns leading the Lady Raiders after one, 19-13. Come on back to Lubbock, Texas. Well, Texas is just loaded with talent. They have the most McDonald's All-Americans currently on their roster with 10, and followed by Louisville with 7, and close behind is UConn and the University of Notre Dame. The Fighting Irish also have 6. But you talk about talent and depth of talent. You'd like to have it, but it also poses these challenges of who you're going to play.
Sometimes there's just not enough minutes to go around for all of this big-time talent she's put on your roster. But I think that's one of the things that Karen Aston has done so well in her time so far at Texas, is that she puts together rosters, and she's got kids that buy in as role players. As a freshman or a sophomore, this is what your role is going to be. And as you grow into being a player at Texas, being part of the program, you're going to find more minutes and you're going to become more successful. Keep in mind, 2 freshmen on their players, the top players in the nation last year recruited, and are not seeing a lot of playing time, but they're buying in, and they've got good players that do that.
3 seconds is called by Eric Bruton, part of our 3 official officiating crew, Bob Trammell and Gina Cross, the other 2. Texas Tech trying to find some way to get the ball inside. They're trying to get it to Great. They go a little high-low, and it's knocked out of the hands of the Lady Raiders. On the move are the Longhorns. Several touches, and it's out of bounds, going to stay with the Longhorns.
And there's that phonetic place you talked about earlier, and just the fact that off the miss going the other way, Texas pushing the ball, doesn't get it to go, but now they have a reset out of bounds underneath.
Atkins inbounds the ball, and it's the quick hit and the quick find of LaShawn Higgs.
Great execution on the out of bounds underneath. Texas Tech caught flat-footed, chasing on the screens, and they get an easy bucket for Higgs.
They say she has more confidence this year, just loves to spend time in the gym, loves to play D and O. Oh, good look to Atkins.
And there's Brooke McCarty leading the break. You get the turnover on the other end and out in transition. That is where Texas wants to be here today. They know that they can exploit opportunities on the break, and you got to make Texas Tech pay for their mistakes.
Now a 10-point lead for the Longhorns, coming off that loss to UConn. And we've got a whistle and a foul against Texas.
You go back to the inbounds play, and you're going to see just how easy it was for Texas to get that bucket by using that wraparound screen and great execution. You got to wait. You wait a beat, but defense trails. Easy bucket for Higgs. Probably one of the easiest she may get all afternoon.
Lady Raiders inbounding the basketball. Quick hit. Why not? And a whistle and a foul.
And that goes against Brittany Brewer. Another instance where Texas Tech is trying to crash that offensive glass just to get a tip, see if they can't get a bucket in any way. And they've had a couple quick hit misses off those out of bounds plays for Grayson Bright. She hasn't been able to knock down. Those are ones Texas Tech would love to have back.
This is a Texas team that won their first 7 games. They lost to Tennessee, won 6. And then they lost to TCU, and it was a wake-up call to the Texas Longhorns, and they said, look, we got to play with high energy. Oh, counted in a foul for McCarty.
You talk about that high energy, and we've seen it here so far in this first half. And there's McCarty, able to put it on the floor, but that's because she's such a weapon from the three-point line. You have to get out and honor the fact that she can shoot the ball, and then she can put it on the floor and score. But you mentioned that energy factor. And in talking to the Longhorn coaching staff, when they went to TCU last week, they didn't have it. And you can't go into somebody else's house and not play with a lot of energy. TCU had it, they didn't, they lost by 2. They matched it at home against UConn, but you gotta play at that high level all the time, no matter who you play and where you play.
You think the 11,000 plus fans at that game for UConn in Texas had something to do with it?
Absolutely, there's nothing like playing at home. That is the best place, and that's why you saw how TCU played when they had Texas come into their house. And this Texas Tech team playing with a lot of energy here today at home in Lubbock. It goes both ways. Teams at home and teams on the road. You got to match it.
Brielle Blair from long distance, but that's answered by Texas.
And answered so quickly by Brooke McCarty. She got ahead of steam on a quick inbounds off the make and is able to convert. That is Texas Tech just not getting back to pick the basketball up early.
Shimmy Gray Miller says we play in increments. We want to win. We want to go through the process of having better fundamentals, of communicating better, of just breaking it down and making it simple. And this is a process which worked. They got their first Big 12 win against Kansas, but you can see it's really a work in progress against the 9th-ranked Texas Longhorns.
And it's really going to be a work in progress every game in the Big 12 Conference because this is such a good league top to bottom. You have a hard time taking a night off, and when you do, that's when you're going to get beat. But you got to be able to compete on every single possession. And that's what Shimmy Gray Miller is trying to instill in this team, is their ability to be competitive, to have a culture of accountability, and also to do the little things that will help them get wins.
Patterson, Chastity Patterson, the 5'5" freshman guard out of Houston, Texas. Crossover dribble, steps back, rebound, Lady Raiders.
And Patterson hasn't seen a lot of minutes so far, just action in 11 games, but she was the #4 recruit in the nation in 2017. And without Suggs Sutton in the game today, who is out with an injury, she's going to get a little bit more playing time at the guard position.
Well, she had Hosey, but Hosey goes up and is quickly fouled by the Lady Raiders.
Here you're going to see how physical it is, and up the floor now. And there's Hosey. And pretty good defense by Tech, but there's a lot of contact there. And you can tell this is a rivalry game. It has been a rivalry between Texas and Texas Tech for decades. You mentioned it, 99th time these teams have played. 8 straight wins for Texas over Texas Tech. There's a lot at stake here in Lubbock this afternoon.
They're not going to step up and guard McCarty. She is going to pull the trigger, and she has several times, just kind of daring her to take that shot.
She hasn't shot the ball well from 3, and so teams, sometimes you got to pick your poison. You got to honor the 3-point shot, but what she's done so far here in this first half is put it on the floor and create for herself and her teammates, and that's easy buckets. And right there, the aggressive possession after possession for Tech, but it is solid defense right now for this Longhorn team, and you're going to see getting good position on the move. Hosey's feet are outside that magic circle, and there's the charge going the other way.
Olabode is charged with the charge. A couple substitutions, DeGreat back in, Olabode out. 30-16 here for the Longhorns. They average 84 points per game. They're almost at half that. Wow, great interior passing. That's Joyner Holmes.
And isolation right there for Joyner Holmes. Kind of a 4-out, 1-in look for Texas. The 1-in is Holmes. She gets great position for an easy bucket.
Another kick back out. Hayden going strong to the hoop, but Holmes is there for the rebound.
And Texas Tech has had shots, Tracy, some easy ones that they just have not been able to get down. And that is what Texas does, is they make you pay for misses and turnovers. And right now, transition offense is where they are making a living. Texas Tech not getting back, and Texas dictating tempo on both ends.
10 points already from McCarty. Block inside by Joyner Holmes, and they've got a runner, and that's Higgs. And Higgs gives Longhorns the 36-16 lead.
And the athleticism of Joyner Holmes inside. We're seeing flashes of her old self, who was the freshman of the year last year in the Big 12. As she gets more comfortable, her game continues to, the level continues to rise, and that's a good thing for Texas.
Shimmy Gray Miller said, I want to see movement on offense. We get into trouble when we get stagnant.